Hi everyone, Sajid Amit here, and welcome to my review of the Vision Ears VE10. And some people call it the VEX. I'm just going to position the mic a little closer to me in case that helps you hear me. So the VE10 is an anniversary edition from Vision Ears, and I don't think there's any other review of this yet. So take these to be my first impressions. I'll be dropping another one, doing more expanded comparisons with other IEMs I have. So it is a wonderful IEM with a great unboxing experience, and Vision Ears gives you a lot for your money, always has. They're usually famous for their house sound, which is very mid-rangey, and they have some of the best mid-range in the business. And I just will take you through the unboxing very quickly and then show you what the IEM looks like and sounds like. And like I said, I'll follow up with another one where I do some shootouts. So it does have some interesting paraphernalia. You, of course, get this mesh pouch, which is pretty standard, but it's V branded. If that matters to you, you get this leather carrying case, which is a very handsome looking carrying case. This leather carrying case, I think, is handsomer than others I've seen. So I keep running into the the Vision Ears guys at different events. For example, this past Can Jam, I had a nice conversation with Marcel. And they're super friendly and easy to talk to. I like the guys a lot. And then you get this box in the which has a bunch of other things like the Asla Sedna Earfit Origin tips, which I think are not easy to find. You get, I think, what is this exactly? Something. Anyway, you get stickers. You get a cleaning, sort of a bottle of cleaning liquid, and of course more spin fit tips and all that, right? So it is pretty elaborate in terms of its unboxing. This stuff doesn't really matter to me. I just, take my IEM out and I push the box to the side. As long as I keep it, I just don't deal with the box. I have my own collection of tips that I roll. So the cable here is fantastic. The cable here has to be the most premium cable I've ever seen as a stock cable. Even this cable tie or cable clip is of a very high quality with the absolutely most amazing finish. As for the IEMs, guys, I'll show you the cable as well because I'm a huge fan of these cables. Let me just roll it up a bit so it doesn't start dangling. This is what the cable looks like. It does look as premium as a lot of other cables you might just get aftermarket from Effect Audio or Elatech for that matter. It's lovely. It's just this beautiful shade of whitish gray or grayish white that works really well with these anodized aluminum shells. I'm a huge fan of this look. It's super light. It houses 10 drivers, but just look at the shells. It's very, very cool looking. It's light, it's sturdy, it's well built, and it looks fantastic. This sort of monochromatic black and white aesthetic, it just jives with me. It is my thing. So I've taken notes of this. In general, what I talk about here, I have some notes on my phone, is that the whole presentation sounds a bit forward. I talk about a glass bowl effect because when you listen to the V10, it's a very, very unique presentation in that you feel like the music is very up and close to you, which is beautiful because that brings with itself a sense of intimacy. So I call it the glass bowl effect. I dropped some impressions on Head5. I'm just reading it out because these, I think, really capture well what I think about these IEMs. So these are just as a way of, referring to my notes. So this glass bowl effect, and by that I mean the entire frequency spectrum from bass to mid-range to treble, it just sounds like the stage is a little up and close, which is nice. And they talk about how, despite that effect, it doesn't have a whole lot of clarity. And by that I mean, it doesn't lack clarity. So it's not muddy, although this has mid-bass. So I can see why the mid-bass energy has a way of masking the absolute clarity that this could have otherwise achieved. But that being said, it's not a mid-bassy, muddy IEM at all. All I mean to say is just that it's not the final word on clarity, meaning if I think of a headphone like a RAL SR1A or 1B, or an IEM like a Final A1000, which have a more sort of lower treble presence and more upper mids presence, those IEMs are more clarity oriented. This again is a fine line. I don't want to make it sound like it's muddy. It's not. It's just that it's not the final word on clarity. Okay, so that's what I say, and then I talk about how the treble, it does sound present, although the overall presentation is warm by design. but it lacks the last bit of air frequencies, so it doesn't. And that's interesting because it doesn't sound boxed in because of that. I think it's very tastefully done, because by toning down on the air frequencies and giving a bit of mid-treble incisiveness, you still get a lot of resolution. You don't get a huge stage. I think VE Vision Ears is going for a more intimate sort of recording, sort of studio sort of effect here, because it does sound very, very, very emotive, because it has your Vision Ears mid-range, which is very rich and organic and lush, and it works really well with male and female vocals both. Because of the lower to mid-treble presence, you get uncannily realistic female vocals. It's got bass, it's got a dynamic driver. So unlike the V7, which I really, really, really liked, and a bunch of other VE flagships of recent years, which did not have a dynamic driver, this does. So it does punch, it does hit hard. And because I'm one of those audiophile bassists, I feel like every time you say you're a bassist, you have to qualify, because audiophiles cannot be bassists apparently. Because I'm an audiophile bassist, this did float my boat, because it plays back every genre well. It plays back metal well, rock well, or alternative well, male vocals, female vocals, a little bit of jazz and classical that I hear, a bit of hip hop that I tried with this. I mean, the bass is fantastic. And one of the reasons why the bass works really well is that it's not just sub bass tilted, which is the case for a lot of IEMs nowadays that do bass well. Very few IEMs are able to pull off mid bass, right? Because mid bass, thanks to the popularity of Harman, has become sort of a bad word. It's sort of become the M word, you know. But this does have mid bass, and I would say that on balance, the mid bass and sub bass are well balanced. So what that means is that sub bass is not often tokened by a lot of tracks, right? It really depends on how a track is mastered. So if you hear a track that doesn't have a lot of sub bass in it, you will hear the mid bass. So in those cases, it might sound more, thicker than let's say growlish, so to speak. So you might get a sense, it's more mid bass oriented. But then if you play enough tracks, you see that it's very balanced between the mid bass and sub bass. So much so, because what happens with mid bass, and once you tack it on to sub bass, you get a better bass depth. The bass sounds less one notey. Like I'm thinking of a lot of Empire Ears IEMs that sound very one notey in bass. This doesn't. This has more meat, more texture, more overtones, more richness. Mid range is God's gift to mankind. Treble is, like I said, very tastefully done. Mid treble is there, which gives you incisiveness and notes and a sense of resolution. But the upper treble is a bit smoothened out. So overall, intimate presentation, warm sound, incisive in its own way. Not the final word on clarity, but not muddy by any means. I really like how the upper mids and the mid bass sit with each other. Natural, analog for days. This is basically, I think, the best IEM from Germany, the best IEM I can think of from Europe, because all the good stuff is coming out of Singapore and Japan and other Asian countries, with the exception of Fur Audio, which still does the best IEM that I think are coming out of the US. Which, recommend this highly, but stay tuned for my next video where I'll be comparing the VE10 with its competitors, and I'll be comparing a lot of other IEMs below its price point and above its price point with the VE10. So I'll call it VE10 against everyone else or something along those lines. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope this was useful, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye.